Hey guys, Furum here, and today I'm going to be talking about the Bugatti La Voiture Noire Drive Syndicate in Asphalt 9. Might it be the worst event in Asphalt history? Now, that's not a term to be thrown around lightly. I mean, there have been so many events, but I'm going to run through a lot of features in this event and many calculations that I have done to show that this event is indeed worse than the Yesco event, which is widely considered by people to have been the worst Asphalt event, at least in Asphalt 9. But first of all, I want to show you just how far I actually got in the event. So here we are inside of Asphalt. You can see there's about 6 days left in the event as I'm recording this, and I'm just going to go through and show you just what I was able to do in the event. So I completed all the Desert Disaster ones. However, I was unable to complete the pinned missions for Lightspeed Chase 3 and 4 due to not having a high enough rank BMW. Now, it did help me to have a maxed Aranera, so I was able to do all the Among Skyscrapers missions, but coming into Twilight Getaway, I was unable to do the last two with the Apex because, again, I only 3-starred that. And now, coming into Burning Pursuit, I only was actually able to complete 1, 2, and 3. 4 I could not do because I was only able to upgrade my 911 to 1 star. I purchased all of the relay packs. As you can see, they're not showing up anymore inside my store. So let's go back and take a look at where I actually got to in the rewards. So here, I was able to get to low-end Burning Pursuit rewards, just the first two. Missed out on that 300,000 credits, but I didn't get any GT by Citroen blueprints. Those are at the end. And in the cars, I got 32 out of 33 for the BMW i8 with no more Syndicate coins able to get. That was very annoying. But here you can see what I was able to do without having the Apex and 911 originally. I was able to get the 911 at 1 star, but go no further. So before we get into the calculations, I want to mention a few important details about the event that are already worse than with the ESCO event. First of all, it takes 15 minutes versus 5 with the ESCO to deplete one hazard ticket, or whatever you want to call it. That means emptying them all takes 2.5 hours instead of 50 minutes, so it is easy to spend a lot more on refills than you would with the ESCO. Also, the Bugatti is just not as good of a car as the ESCO. It's not as fast. Yes, it's probably the third best car in the game, all things considered, but it's not king of the game, and I'm not sure if there's even any tracks it is actually king on. And something else, the money runs in the later chapters of the event actually deplete money so quickly in some cases that it becomes very difficult to get any Syndicate coins at all through them. In the later sections of each chapter, the coins in the money runs deplete faster than they do early on, making it even more difficult. And last but not least, and this is the absolute biggest reason, in my opinion, that this event is so bad or turned out so terribly, is because you are limited in the number of Syndicate coins you can buy with tokens. In the Yesco event, you could buy as many Syndicate coins as you wanted with tokens, or just based on how many tokens that you had. My video about that event was based on the equivalent amount of money it would take to buy all the Syndicate coins you needed for the event if you didn't have the tokens. But if you did have 21,000 tokens, you could unlock the Yesco without spending any real money. But as you will see, such is not the case with the LVN. Now for the calculations part of the video, and while I'm not going to go through all the math, I will tell you what everything means so that you'll be able to follow along. And by the way, big shoutouts to Danny Video Games, Jack Davis, and Asphalt89 for a lot of valuable information, and especially to Danny Video Games for a lot of the numbers in these sheets. If you check out his channel, he has a playthrough of pretty much the entire Drive Syndicate. Over on the left, I have all the chapters with their section names, as well as the cars in each of them, and the stars which are required for each hazard level. For example, in Lightspeed Chase 3, you can play in a 1-star, 2-star, or 3-star in the hazard level 1, 2, or 3 races respectively. The next columns under Main Missions SC tell you the average number of Syndicate coins you will get when playing the hazard level 1, 2, or 3 missions in each of the sections. The next column tells you how many Syndicate coins you will get in the pinned missions for each section, and under Other SC, those are the Syndicate coins that you get in rewards throughout the event. Then we have the number of token rewards, which don't really come into play in here, but then the number of blueprints are the ones that are given for the car in in the next chapter at the end of each chapter. The next few columns don't really matter. They were just used in the calculations for the main missions SC. Basically, they're just the ratios of the Syndicate coins to the Syndicate points given in each of the missions in each section, and that's how I found the average number of Syndicate coins in each section. Then in the final few columns, I tell you the total number of Syndicate coins you will get in each chapter given the number of stars that your car is in each chapter. This made some of the later calculations simpler and is a nice thing to see. Now for the other sheet which we will need to complete our calculations, which tells us the number of extra blueprints we will need to get to each star level. The ones on the 1 star all have -30 on what's actually needed to unlock the car because those 30 are given in the previous chapter. Now on the right, we have the number of Syndicate coins that it takes for a 10 times pack. The average drop rate in a 10 times pack is 2.8 blueprints, so not quite 3, and that's how I figure out the number of Syndicate coins it takes to get to each star level. The total number of Syndicate coins needed to max star each car are on the right. Now with the Bugatti, you need to go up to stage 8 on the upgrades in order to unlock it, so I have added in the number of Syndicate coins you will need for each stage as well. Down below, I have put the cost for the bundles of each car as well as the number of blueprints that you will get on average within them. Now, I've not bought any of these obviously because I'm still free to play in the game, but Jack Davis told me that at least with the GT by Citroën, although you do have a limit on how many you can buy, more appear after you buy them, and so technically you can max the car using just bundles, which as you can see ends up being literally a fifth of the cost of buying Syndicate coins with real money and then getting the blueprints that way. Now with the BMW i8 and the Porsche 911, it is also cheaper to buy bundles than to buy Syndicate coins and then buy packs, not by as much, and one thing to note is that with the BMW i8 Roadster, I didn't actually use the bundle cost in my calculations, and there's a couple reasons why, one of which pretty much nobody is going to be buying i8 Roadster bundles with real money at the very beginning. You've got Syndicate coins, so you're just going to use those, and it turns out that the cheapest way to get through the event is to only have a 2-star i8, and so you hardly would have to buy any of them anyway. So it just becomes a very small amount comparatively, and most people aren't going to do it anyway. You will also notice that there are no Bugatti packs here. Well, I've been told that the Bugatti packs are not as good as buying Syndicate coins and then getting blueprints that way, and they don't show up in my Syndicate store, so I don't know what they cost. So armed with all of this information, we can finally figure out how much money do you have to spend to unlock the Bugatti La Voiture Noire. To do this, I'm going to look at a few different options within a couple of different scenarios, namely having all previously released cars maxed or having them stock. Most people aren't going to have one or the other, but these are like the upper and the lower bounds. So pretty much your number is going to be in between these. But first of all, let's see if we can figure out the minimum cost to unlock the Bugatti. First of all, let's check, okay, we have all the previously released cars maxed. Let's upgrade all the new cars to the minimum required. If you do this and all you do is purchase Syndicate coins, you'll end up with a total cost of around $1,300, which is insane. Remember, this is the amount of money you would have to spend. This is not an equivalent of tokens. No, you would have to spend this. This is not even taking into account the 6,000 tokens that you would have to use for the relay packs. Then, okay, well, we know that the Citroën is a lot more efficient to buy bundles for, so what if we do that? Well, that lowers our costs drastically down to $500. So yes, if you really want to go for the Bugatti, buying the Citroën bundles are definitely the way to go. If you have all the previously released cars maxed and you try to max all the new ones, this lowers the cost a little bit again. It turns out that buying bundles for the Citroën is so efficient that you actually gain more Syndicate coins through going from 4 to 6 star just in the event than you spend going from 4 to 6 star. So that's why this number is lower. But then remember, again, we can make it even cheaper by only 2-starring the i8, which brings us down to just under $400. So theoretically, given an average luck and not any crazy amount of jackpots, $400 is the minimum amount of money you will have to spend on the Bugatti La Voiture Noire Drive Syndicate 3 to unlock unlock the car. It is impossible to win this event without spending real money. You'll notice a negative deficit here. This is basically just because of the way that I calculated it. We would have 73,000 left over, so I just used those 73,000 to buy some of packs for the Citroen, which reduced the cost a little bit overall. So now that you know how much it costs minimum to unlock the Bugatti, let's see what happens if you just want to unlock the GT by Citroen. Well, it turns out that the Bugatti upgrades are so expensive that you pretty much use up almost your entire amount of Syndicate coins that you have gotten up to that point on that car. Now, you are left with a little bit of a negative deficit, which means you can put that amount towards some GT by Citroen blueprints, which brings the cost to $40, or pretty much those two bundles. By the way, this $40 for the GT by Citroen and the $400 for the LVN are pretty much exactly the minimum bounds that Jack Davis gave me as estimate, so I'm pretty sure these are very close numbers. And now, for the least expensive way to max out the Bugatti LVN, and I'm not going to do any more upgrades with Syndicate coins, because after the event ends, you can then upgrade the car with credits, so there's no need to do that inside the event. Just do what you have to there, but you do have to buy packs for blueprints with the Syndicate coins, so that total comes up to a whopping $2,800 on average minimum. Again, this is with all previously released cars maxed and all of the best other options to max out that car. Next, let's look at sort of an upper bound. Say you are a complete beginner and you just start the event with all previously released cars stock. Say you don't have any blueprints for the Apex or the Aranera or the 911. This is very unlikely, but again, these are more like upper bound estimates. You won't be spending more than this. So if you upgrade all the cars to minimum required, you could expect to pay around $2,500, which is, again, just crazy. But again, this is without using the more efficient bundles. If you use the bundles for the 911 and the GT by Citroen, you almost have that going down to $1,300. If you upgrade all cars to max, this actually goes up here, unlike if you had all the previously released cars maxed, and I believe this is because with the Aranera and the Apex, the extra amount that you'd have to pay in Syndicate coins to max them out, as well as still the discounted amounts for upgrading the Citroen and the 911 with the bundles, outweighs in this case the amount of Syndicate coins that you would get back. So sometime between those, it becomes less efficient to actually max out the cars, even with the bundles. It actually turns out that 6-starring the 911, even with the bundles, is not quite as efficient in price as just staying at 4-star with the bundles, and so we come up with our most efficient and cheapest way to unlock the Bugatti LVN if you have all your other cars at stock. This is with all cars upgraded to their minimum ranks except for the GT, which is maxed out, and this brings us to $1,150 to unlock the Bugatti LVN. Now, you will see this $400 to $1,150 range. The amount that you would have to pay would be somewhere within there most likely, based on the amount of cars that you already had. Say you were in my case and all you had was the Aranera Hacera maxed out. Well, I would probably expect to be paying around, I don't know, $600 to unlock it if I really wanted to. Technically, everything is in these sheets to do your own calculations, so feel free to do that if you would like to. With all previously released stock cars, it would cost around $600 just to unlock the GT by Citroen, which is absolutely crazy, but not as crazy as the whopping $4,000 it would cost to max star the Bugatti La Voiture Noire if you were a beginner and didn't have any cars already. But the goal for most people in this event, I think, is just to unlock the Bugatti La Voiture Noire. So the two numbers that are most important in this chart are the $400 with the max cars and the $1,150 with the stock cars. And just to reiterate a couple of things, because they're very important, the number based on your cars will likely be somewhere between those numbers. And this is not an equivalent. This is how much you would have to spend because there's only so many Syndicate coins that you can buy with tokens. Wow, I know there's been a lot here, but I really wanted to dig deep into this event and really prove once and for all what the community had expected about it. Is it the worst event in Asphalt history? I'll let you decide that, but it is for sure on another level even above the Yes Go event. This video took a very long time to create, so please give a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and consider subscribing for more Asphalt and other games content, and I will see you in my next video. Goodbye!